The sun's not even up yet on a Sunday. I'm a father, I should be sleeping. Why am I up?
I'm not sure I'm even visible on camera, but I'm driving to Angeles Crest, which is a famed place to drive cars relatively quickly, but safely on a Sunday morning. I'm assuming it'll be beautiful. There don't seem to be any, hello. Well, now here I am complaining and this woman's going out on a jog. Huh. You know, I'm gonna turn around my bad attitude right about now. Helping me improve my attitude is the fact that I'm driving a Ferrari Portofino, and before you ask, yes, I am sick, helping explain the deeper voice. This guy's out for a bike ride. What's my excuse?
Do you want to know why I woke up on a Sunday? That's why I woke up on a Sunday. Hi.
Hi.
Coming for high fives.
All right, I'm caffeinated, and the brisk morning has woken me up. Normally when I do videos on my channel, I'm just on my way to work or just doing normal stuff, but this seems like a good application of the vehicle I'm driving, which is a Ferrari Portofino. I'm hanging with a couple of guys here. Porsche Cayman GT4, McLaren 600 LT. I have been on Angeles Crest, stuck behind a Toyota Prius. I can't tell you how many times. Probably not the same Prius, but who knows? Maybe it's just one guy just going back up and down the hill while enjoying a twisting road, and with the lights still lovely because the sun hasn't come up yet. Let's talk about the Ferrari Portofino. It's a 3.9 liter twin turbocharged V8, 591 horsepower, 561 pound-feet of torque. So, you know, enough. 7-speed dual clutch transmission, and right now it's an auto, so let's fix that by hitting the auto button. There we go, now we're in manual. So we use the paddle shifters for all of our shifting. The lovely carbon fiber paddle shifters. Can I tell you what I like already? I like the fact that we're maintaining a consistent speed, so we're not trying to haul ass in the straights and then go daintily slow through the corners. We're basically keeping our momentum, so I don't see any brake lights. To me, that's a sign of people who really understand what we're doing here. So like the rest of the Ferrari lineup, the Portofino has the Manatino controller right down here. Just flip a switch, or rotate the knob rather. Well, is this a switch? Is this a knob? Anyway, switch it over to Sport. That livens things up a little bit. Throttle response is a little bit sharper. And it's finally happened. We caught up with what do we got here? Porsche Chevy Silverado stuck behind a Toyota Corolla. It's like the Prius of cars that are in hybrids. Oh God, the sun. All right, passing lane. We got a passing lane. We did it. We all got around the cars. Everything's gonna be A-okay. It looks like I'm driving into a nuclear blast, doesn't it? Very, very confident. Just want to throw out like cheap phrases like, this thing's built for the turns. Well, I think I got a nice left coming up here. Let's get it down into first. And there we are. This is what we would call a right zippy pace. Maybe we'll use this camera angle for a little while. Not because the speedometer is showing anything inappropriate. My expectation was that the Portofino would be a little bit more grand touring than simply fast, but so far it seems to be able to do both. There's an effortless quality here that I absolutely love. Stupendous grip. The brakes feel great. The standard carbon ceramics are awesome. It's not too hard to brake pedal, but very easy to control. I was like, what is that sound? I think that's Derek up in the front honking at the person in the Honda Odyssey who is slowing us down. I love that spirit. So what do we have? More than enough thrust, and it sounds good doing it. Thrusting? Oh boy. Stumbled into some awkwardness there. Just up around the bend over this little bridge, there is a tunnel. I'm gonna put the windows down and we can hear how the Portofino sounds. Assuming we're not doing 30 miles an hour behind a Honda Odyssey. I'm sorry, I impugned the name of Prius drivers everywhere this morning. It's a Honda that's bothering me. Oh man. Obvious turnout. Odyssey could have pulled over very easily, but nope. They're sticking to their guns. I think we got a, oh, here we go. Okay, windows down. There's something great about driving in a pack of identically awesome cars. It makes you feel like you're doing something. You know what I want to do? At some point, I want to drive in, like, you ever see like a Transformers movie or something where they got like a fleet of Chevy Tahoes because they're like government people? I kind of want to be one of those guys. But this is better, actually. Never mind. Are you kidding me? Whoa, the Honda Odyssey's turning to the right too? Oh, this is going to get uncomfortable. You know, earlier when I was saying there might be one guy just driving around trying to slow everybody, maybe it's the Odyssey. Oh, wait, okay. I'm glad that didn't come to fisticuffs. I'm also glad I got to use the word fisticuffs. So in the sports setting, the transmission does more assertive shifts. Watch. Makes that little popping sound. And there's an interruption in acceleration while the change happens. The thing is, like, if you were shifting at the exit of a corner, like, yeah, let's say you're in second and you're upshifting to third, that's a really undesirable time to have an abrupt hit of thrust. Oftentimes, car makers will do things to make cars feel sporty or more exciting that you wouldn't actually want if you were driving in a true high-performance environment. Abrupt gear changes are a big one. This is the moment where I'm driving fairly quick, but I'm not driving nearly as quick as the folks up front. I sounded kind of negative about the transmission behavior being a little abrupt, but it is kind of exciting. Its contrast is what it is. The acceleration feels even more robust when you have that momentary pause in acceleration. Intensity is really about contrast. Like, there's a very different character than when you drive a Tesla versus Ferrari here. You know, where the Tesla doesn't have any interruption in its acceleration. The relentlessness is intriguing, but only because it's so intense. For excitement, there is something about having that little interruption. Aww. The fellas waited for us. This is the most awkward part about driving the Portofino, is leaving from a stop. The dual clutch transmission is not adept at slipping the clutch. So it's awkward. And as long as I'm complaining about things Ferrari drivers don't actually care about, there's only one cup holder here, which would be a problem if I had a significant other with me. Oh, and the other one, cost. So the Portofino starts around $215,000 or so, and then this one is like $270,000. How do you add that many options? Well, to start, if you want Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, it's $4,000. Actually, slightly more than $4,000. Basically, every little thing is wildly expensive, but you have to put yourself in the mind of somebody who might be buying a Ferrari. Oftentimes you think, like, well, that doesn't make any sense in a car. And it's like, well, yeah, if you have one car. But if you have a Ferrari Portofino, is this the car you're driving every single day? No, you have a fleet of cars. You drive this car when you want to drive the Portofino. And when you want to drive the Portofino, do you care how much you spent on your Apple CarPlay or the fact that there's only one cup holder? Probably not. Oh, and you're probably thinking right now, Micah, you have missed the point of the Portofino because the roof goes down. It's a retractable hardtop and you're not exploiting its open air potential. I promise I will do that on the drive down. Oh, good. We've reached our stop-off spot. I can stop talking. Unsurprisingly, with the top down, it's windier, which is lovely. Wind in the cabin is actually pretty nicely controlled. It doesn't feel too buffety. It's like the right amount of breeze. It's pleasantly breezy. The other completely obvious advantage is that you hear more of the exhaust note, which sounds a little something like this. As noted in other videos, I don't typically comment that much on aesthetic because you guys know what you like, but I'm not totally sold on the look of the Portofino. What do you think? Would you rock a Portofino? Tell us in the comment section. I honestly don't do this kind of car enthusiast come out for a drive thing ever, but it is sort of nice being out and seeing other people out enjoying their cars. Perhaps I should do this more often, communing with my fellow humans. Hello, Porsche people. Years and years ago, when I was a much younger man, I used to drive this exact same road in my old Honda Del Sol to visit a girl I was dating in Diamond Bar. I would always drive top off no matter how cold the weather was. You know that's even better with the top down. Well, I'll be damned. It's a windowless white van. Where do they all come from? A Chevrolet City Express. Huh. With a wood window in back. It's the right level of creepy. While we're loping along here at City Express speeds, I will point out that the back seats are pretty well useless for hauling humans, unless they're tiny, tiny, adorable 3.5-year-old humans like my daughter. If you work really hard, you can get a booster seat back there. My daughter loved driving in this thing. It was a lot of fun. Right now it's on backpack duty, and that's about the proper use for the back seats. So all the controls in a Ferrari are essentially on the steering wheel. So turn signals are up here with your thumbs, or you can use the fingers to pull forward, but right signal, left signal. There's a button here for the bumpy road suspension setting. If you are in sport mode, you can push this and that'll smooth things out a little bit from a ride quality perspective. You know what, we're going fast. Let me put the windows up so you can hear me better. Windows up, that really does mellow things out here. Not quite so blustery. Can still hear plenty of exhaust. It's kind of a nice thing on the steering wheel. You've got the shift light indicator, which you don't have to look at. It's just out of the peripheral view. It gives you an obvious cue that it's time to upshift, which is kind of cool. For example, inside the Portofino has all the trappings of a proper Ferrari. You know, everything's leather, stitched. I really like the yellow tachometer, vivid. Yes, for Sunday morning pleasure drives, I think the Portofino is a fine conveyance. Although I'm seeing a lot of high-end gear out here, so I don't know if anybody's dazzled by the Ferrari I'm driving. So the essence of the Ferrari Portofino makes me think a little bit about Benedict Cumberbatch. Powerful, fun, I'm not quite sure whether it's attractive or not. Distilling that down to a couple of words, I dubbed the Portofino Italian Cumberbatch. With all my synopsizing out of the way, it's time for breakfast.